Let's get right. 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 You already know what it is, man. It's your boy Dealatofficial, and this is No Filters. Always appreciate you hitting that like button for me, subscribing to the channel so you don't miss an episode, and sharing this with the world. And of course, family, when you come in, get comfortable. Get you something to eat, get you something to drink, get you something to smoke if that's what you do. Cause you see the title, fam. Let's get into this here.
Out to the other big story this Sunday. Tonight, new details are emerging about the fatal shooting of an ICU nurse in Minneapolis by federal agents. It was caught on video by several witnesses, but local, state, and federal officials are providing starkly different accounts of what happened. CBS's Lana Zach is in Minneapolis tonight with the latest.
Good evening, Jerika. We have learned that the agents involved in that shooting are still on the job, but they've been moved out of Minneapolis to other locations.
ICE out! ICE out!
Roughly 1,000 people marched through the streets of downtown Minneapolis today, demanding federal agents leave their city.
Say his name! Alex Preddy!
2 miles away, there's a memorial for Alex Preddy, the second U.S. citizen killed in Minneapolis by federal agents this month.
What we are experiencing here is terror.
Today, ICE Commander Gregory Bovino called Preddy and Renee Good suspects. The Trump administration has repeatedly blamed them for deadly confrontations with agents.
When someone makes the choice to come into an active law enforcement scene, interfere, obstruct, delay, or assault law enforcement officers, and they bring a weapon to do that, that is a choice that individual made.
Multiple cell phone videos captured those final moments before Preddy was killed. In the footage, he is seen holding a cell phone before several officers tackle him. One appears to retrieve a gun and turn away. Then at least one agent shoots and kills him. Preddy was a lawful gun owner with a permit to carry a handgun in Minnesota.
We believe that Donald Trump needs to pull these 3,000 untrained agents out of Minnesota before they kill another person.
Minnesota officials are demanding to be allowed to investigate Preddy's death. But like the fatal shooting of Renee Good, they say Trump administration officials are preventing them. Late Saturday, a federal judge issued a temporary order blocking the Trump administration from destroying or altering evidence related to the shooting. Preddy worked as an intensive care nurse at a VA hospital. In a social media video, he's seen conducting a hallway memorial for a deceased veteran.
May we never forget and always remember our brothers and sisters who have served.
In a statement on Saturday, Preddy's parents said, "The sickening lies told about our son by the administration are reprehensible and disgusting. Please get the truth out about our son. He was a good man." The family of Renee Good just released a statement. They say that ICE activity has clearly gone too far. Commander Bovino says that immigration activity here will continue unabated. Jerika?
All right, Lana Zach for us tonight.
Calling law enforcement names like Gestapo or using the term kidnapping, that is a choice that is made. There are actions and consequences that come from those choices. And then when someone chooses to listen to a politician, a so-called journalist, a community leader that spouted that type of vilification towards law enforcement or anything else, when you choose to listen to that, that is a choice, and there are consequences and actions there also. I think we saw that yesterday.
You're watching The Legal Breakdown, Glenn. That was Greg Bovino, who is in charge of Customs and Border Patrol, basically offering up this idea that if you call federal agents kidnappers or Gestapo, that there will be consequences. So is there any legality to what he's saying here?
No, because first of all, they're acting like Gestapo and they are kidnapping people. Let me say it again. We've seen them kidnap people, including American citizens who they put in a jail cell for a day or two. Then they open the cell door, let them walk out, and they're not charged with anything. Why? Because there was no basis to take them into custody in the first place. When you take somebody into custody, when you detain them with absolutely no lawful basis or authority, you know what we prosecutors call that? Kidnapping, right? Sometimes we call it false imprisonment. So it's insane that a guy like Bovino is doing what he is doing. He and his ICE officers out in the street. We see it with our own eyes. It's being documented by citizens on their cell phones. It looks like they are acting like the Gestapo. It looks like they are kidnapping people. And indeed, based on the reporting, they actually are. But he says, don't you dare use those words to criticize us. You know, it's beyond a First Amendment free speech violation. It is a fantasy land that he's living in. And I mean, the only good news, Brian, is the courts continue to hold strong, and there's no court in the country, I don't care who appointed the federal judge, who would say that that's right. If Bovino says the citizenry can't use certain words to describe them, we're just going to go ahead and let Donald Trump's DOJ charge those people with federal crimes for using those words. That is effing ridiculous.
Just a quick note for those who are watching right now, if you'd like to follow along with this news and all other legal news, the best way to do that is to subscribe to both of our channels. I'm going to put those links in the post description of this video. Glenn, what are the legal implications of a government official speaking on behalf of the U.S. government, basically this idea that he is criminalizing speech, that if you deign to acknowledge objective reality, that ICE is kidnapping people, that ICE is using Gestapo tactics, that there will be consequences for doing so. And you know, he even says in that clip that if you listen to this kind of stuff, there will be consequences for that as well. So are there any legal implications of basically the criminalization of free speech?
You know, unfortunately, particularly when we have a Department of Justice and its leadership that is not at all loyal to the rule of law or the Constitution, it's very hard to envision consequences presently while, you know, Trump and Bondi and Nome and company are still in power and running roughshod over the rights of the American people. He could be fired from his job, but Kristi Noem is not going to fire him. Congress could act to defund, you know, his position, to defund ICE agents, to, you know, defund certain components of DHS, all of which I hope they will do. And I would urge all of our viewers to call their elected officials in Washington and urge them to stop funding lawlessness, unconstitutionality, and murder. Stop funding it, because you're harming the American people. You're hurting your own constituents. And of course, Brian, once these people fall from power, and they will, whether Donald Trump makes it his entire term or not, they will fall from power at some point. That's when criminal investigations will need to commence, because this old RICO prosecutor looks at Donald Trump's executive branch, and I see a criminal enterprise. And I don't use that term flippantly. I mean, I see an organization that is being run as, you know, a criminal outfit headed up by Donald Trump, who is essentially the mob boss. He's got his consigliere and Pam Bondi over at the Department of Justice. He's got his underbosses. He's got his capos, right? He's got a lot of wise guys in his organization. And so, you know, if we've learned nothing from the timidity and inaction of the Merrick Garland Department of Justice previously, which has brought us to exactly where we are today, you know, we have to learn the lesson that, you know, runaway criminality by an executive branch of the federal government needs to be met with the rule of law. So yes, down the road, there may very well be consequences for Bovino and his ilk. It's just they're feeling themselves right now because they've got people like Nome and Bondi and Trump who have their back.
Glenn, I want to throw another clip of Bovino up onto the screen.
All agents that were involved in that scene are working, not in Minneapolis, but in other locations. That's for their safety. There's this thing called doxing, and the safety of our employees is very important to us. So we're going to keep those employees safe. As far as the number of shots, the number of agents involved, that again is going to come out in the investigation. I'm not going to speculate on who did what, when they did it, how they did it, or what exactly occurred there. I'm going to wait for the investigation to let me know what happened, because Before those facts come out, we need to ensure that we're talking truthfully and accurately. And before I speculate, I'm going to talk truthfully and accurately.
So right there, Bovino was asked about the identity of the ICE agent who shot Alex Preddy. We obviously know the identity of the ICE agent, Jonathan Ross, who shot Renee Good. Now we're not getting any of that information. And so in very much the same way that DHS shut down the BCA, which is the state investigators who wanted to look into what happened with the killing of Alex Preddy, and now that's not happening. The DHS has also learned from their mistakes, quote unquote, from the first time, which is that when the identity of the ICE agent is revealed, that people will learn that person's name and want to rightfully hold them to account for what they've done, which is to commit murder. And so can I have your reaction to this idea that far from any accountability, they're not even sharing any of the information about who this rogue ICE agent is?
Anonymity breeds abuse, right? But, with transparency and with an investigation into what happened, that's the only way you can address lawlessness by a runaway rogue component of DHS, ICE. ICE has distinguished itself as lawless. We've seen reports in Minnesota over and over again where they're unlawfully detaining police officers, Minnesota police officers who are off duty, but they happen to be minorities. So they're being unlawfully detained. In fact, at least one indicated that she was assaulted when she had her cell phone snatched out of her hand when she simply tried to record the encounter. With anonymity comes abuse of power. And that's what we've seen. I do not subscribe to doxing. Nobody should dox people who are government agents or officials. Don't endanger them and their families and go to their homes. But we do need these people to be fully, fairly, and thoroughly investigated, and they need to be held accountable for the crimes they've committed. I mean, I watched the videos of the Alex Preddy murder, right? They executed an unarmed man after they disarmed him, even though he was in lawful possession of his own firearm. He had a concealed carry permit, according to the reporting, and he didn't even reach for or brandish his weapon. He was brandishing nothing but a cell phone to record the ICE abuse he was witnessing. They removed his gun from the holster, took it away, and then they executed him. They murdered him. And that is something that has to be investigated. I recently authored a piece jointly with Dave Ehrenberg. He's a longtime state court prosecutor. I was a career federal prosecutor, and we set out a blueprint for how the Minnesota law enforcement authorities can and must aggressively investigate not only Renee Good's killing, but now the murder of Alex Preddy. And they can do it, even though the federal government is trying to throw up roadblocks and obstruct justice every step of the way. There are ways for the state authorities to move forward toward an indictment and even to wrestle the evidence away from the federal authorities. So listen, this is what the Minnesota state law enforcement authorities and prosecutors must do. They can't just take this lying down. Their citizens are being murdered, and I use that term advisedly.
And what about this idea that without even a day's delay, this ICE officer, who again shall remain anonymous, was taken out of Minnesota, put back on the streets?
I would call that accessory after the fact. Plain and simple.
Knowing what he's capable of, knowing the crime he's committed, to then put him back on the streets and facing American citizens.
Yeah, so first of all, when you assist somebody who has committed a felony, you do something to help that person evade apprehension, trial, and punishment. You're committing a federal felony, accessory after the fact. And then by putting him back on the street, you are now endangering an entire new population, wherever he happens to be deployed, knowing what he has done previously. And I think that could criminally and certainly civilly put his supervisors on the hook. It's like, the old story about if your dog continues to bite visitors to your home, you become responsible for setting up those dangerous circumstances. Well, it looks like, they want these ICE agents out there biting or shooting citizens kind of at will, and they refuse to do anything to hold them accountable.
I also find it kind of ironic that for an entire agency whose purported purpose is to take people off the streets who are committing crimes, and they spent so long berating the Biden administration for having all these people here who are committing crimes, and then they don't keep them locked up, they let them roam the streets, and they've got ICE agents who clearly don't know how to use their weapons, clearly are incompetent, clearly are not trained, and they're literally doing the exact same thing that they once condemned, putting them on the streets and endangering an entirely new population by virtue of having these anonymous officers roaming around.
When you're living in a dictatorship, I guess they let you do it. I mean, this is the goal of Donald Trump and his flunkies and his sycophants. Dangerous as they are, it is to terrorize the population into silence, into compliance. They want everybody to lay down and be defeated. But the only way you meet the force of a dictator or an autocrat is to rise up against them peacefully, rise up in protest, you use your economic power. We've seen general strikes recently now in Minnesota, and it's up to we, the people, to rise up to meet this challenge. And if we can get at least 3.5% of the American population to do that, to stand up, to rise up, that is the number that autocracy experts cite as, the amount of a population that can dethrone a dictator. Again, I'll always emphasize peacefully, but, we need to rise up.
Respond, force you to react. It is often said that when you're held in contempt, you are the holder of the keys.
What can we do set up? There's a peaceful protest and look, come like this.
Well, show me your face instead of one of your panties.
Y'all ain't gonna do that? You're not gonna walk up with the car. Y'all ain't gonna do
what? Y'all let him walk all the way over here. No threat, no nothing. This guy.
You see my face?
You hear him? He's right. He's talking. He's threatening me, and this is nothing to him.
How am I threatening you, man?
I didn't say threatening, I said Hadley.
Hadley?
Yes.
Okay. If they give me this offer, I could take it, right? Oh, you're not to that? She gave me that offer. So, what's the end of that?
She's half your age. She could be your daughter's age. Are you really gonna say something like that to somebody who's your daughter's age, your kid's age, your grandkid's age? Be ashamed. That's all I'm
Why should I be ashamed when she gives me the offer like this?
That's fucking creepy. What if she's half your age, you How old are you? Grow the up. You're playing stuff. You're not. You just came here to start stuff. Leave.
I can't take off this. You're wearing panties.
You're morphing.
Take it off.
Look at what you're wearing. You've never been to music. You're a loser. Just go. How old are you? You wasted your life. You have nothing going on for you.
Look at her.
This is the highlight of your life. This is it. Nothing else happens after this to you. You lost. Bonded it. Your family's gone. Your kids are gone.
And that's why you're standing here by yourself.
In one of the most embarrassing videos I have seen, this weirdo cosplayed as Ice on the same plane.
He's one of us. Okay, good. You alright, dude? You alright? He's one of us. How do we know? How do we know? I was with him earlier. Why you get rid of earlier? I don't know. He's one of us. I'm with him. Trust me. You know that? You got after the straight left. The whole time. You touched us pretty good. You know what again? You alright? Back right now! Back up! Yeah, save your Nazi, put him in your Nazi van. Go get him some help. He needs a little bit of mental health there.
Doggy. So you gonna let me in the eye when you screaming? You gonna let me in the eye when you screaming?
Some online claim these are federal agents and or sheriff's officers infiltrating protests and movements in Minneapolis. Considering what we just saw, it's not hard to see that being the case. Still.
Do you actually work for ICE?
No, not at all. Nope.
Explain the outfit.
It's $29.99 on Amazon. I would recommend buying a small if you're my size. This one's a little too loose for my liking. But yeah, if you want some entertainment, wear this and go to a Home Depot in a sanctuary city like where I live right now, Washington, D.C., and you'll see all the illegals. Not all of them, but you can maybe see a lot of them start to run away, and you feel like a group fitness instructor. It's really good.
And you actually think that's funny?
I think it's hilarious. Absolutely. What's not funny is them illegally.
There you have it, everybody. One of the worst people I've seen here at CPAC, and that's saying something.
Losers like these emulate what they deep throat. As for the good liars' point, yeah, that really is saying something.
Oh, no. Are you real ice? It's Halloween, though.
Kind of a costume, though. Wait, do you love it or do you hate it?
Yeah, I know that.
I'm gonna stay neutral on that one.
No. You're really good. You've been nice.
Clownish stuff. Where doing this has real-life consequences. CBS Pittsburgh reported a man named William Gregory posed as an ICE agent during a home robbery. He was in custody after being knocked unconscious by a tenant.
Where you from? Mexico? You from Mexico?
A warning tonight from authorities about people impersonating those agents.
You're going back to Mexico.
In a video shared widely on social media, a South Carolina man police have identified as Sean Michael Johnson is seen telling the Latino driver of this truck he's going to be sent back to Mexico.
No, you cannot drive, bro. You have not a license. No, you cannot.
At one point, taking the keys out of the ignition, dangling them in front of the driver, and mocking his accent.
I don't be speaking that pig Latin in my country, bro.
Johnson, who police say tried to report the driver for not having a license, was charged with kidnapping and impersonating a federal officer after the video circulated. Johnson could not be reached for comment. Over the weekend, Philadelphia police say 3 men wearing black t-shirts with ICE written on them impersonated federal officers to gain access to a resident hall at Temple University. Police only identifying one of them as 22-year-old Aiden Stiegelman. Last week in North Carolina, another horrifying incident when police say this man, Carl Thomas Bennett, was arrested for allegedly impersonating a law enforcement officer and sexually assaulting a woman at a Motel 6, threatening to deport her if she didn't comply. Bennett's attorney did not return NBC's request for comment.
These incidents, though, are rising.
They're searching, somebody's searching that truck. That white truck. Look. Yeah. Who the hell is it? They're shining a flashlight in his face right now. What the hell is going on? Look at this. They're getting searched right now. We gotta get out and see what's going on, man. Who the hell is that guy? He's a security guard. He's got those guys detained and checking their license. Something ain't right. Something ain't right. Who are you? Guys calling the cops on us. Harvey Freeberg. Yeah, it's Harvey Freeberg. You're being live streamed right now, Dad.
Including with this man, posing as a federal agent. 44-year-old Joshua Warner would be arrested at his place of residence. It's rather easy these days.
One of the things that's really a lot of you probably don't see this, is people are basically dressing up as ICE agents, disguising as ICE agents, and grabbing people and taking people. And you may think, how is that possible? How can you possibly do that? So I thought, I don't think it's very hard. So I went to Amazon, and here's exactly what I did. The first thing I did was order this. It cost me like $4. So now I can't be identified. Perfect for thugging people. Mask. Then I ordered this vest, $30. Mask, $4. Vest, $30. I didn't order the handcuffs. You can get handcuffs all over ICE. So now I'm all over Amazon. All I have to do now, truly, all I have to do now is drive around LA in an unmarked car or anywhere there are Latinos, come screaming at them, take my handcuffs, grab them, put them in my car. Then I can do whatever the fuck. I can take their money. I can hold them for ransom. I can turn them in. I'm sure some ICE agents would pay good money knowing how scummy these people are. I am an ICE agent. This is me. I'm an ICE agent. I'm a middle-aged guy, white guy, wearing a green vest, and you can't see my face. And there's nothing you can do about it. So if I capture you, you can't. I'm not showing my ID because I'm an ICE agent. ICE agents aren't showing their IDs. I don't have a warrant because ICE agents aren't showing warrants. I can break your you can't do anything about it. No one's going to stop me. And that's what's going on right now, all over the You don't just have ICE agents grabbing people based on the color of their skin. You have people dressed up as ICE agents, pretending to be ICE agents, seeking out money, seeking out whatever, terrorizing communities.
And sports writer Jeff Pearlman shows on his TikTok page in this video. Hey, I appreciate you watching. Now, if you can, please do become a channel member by going to youtube.com/TYTsports and clicking the join button. If that's too much for you, you can just go to tyt.com/join to become a member. It helps all of us out here at the Young Turks and keeps our network afloat. In addition, you can follow me on my socials on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate the love. Have a great day.
Trump begins to lose his own allies amid the latest ICE shooting. And I've got 3 interviews: Tommy Vietor, New Jersey Governor Mikey Sherrill, and Congressman Sarah Jacobs. I'm Brian Tyler Cohen, and you're watching No Lie.
Hit that like button right now. You know you in here with your boy Dealatofficial and my fam. And you know this is No Filters. Hit that like button, double tap that screen. Subscribe for free. Put your notifications on all so you don't miss nothing. And never forget, share this with the world. Because I think fam is really forgetting what's really real about everything we doing here, man. Like if we ain't sharing this, it don't even matter. Because we sharing it with folk and then they come in the house. But yet there's still people that's still outside the house that's outside. So we got to share it with outside so they come on in the house. You know what I'm saying, fam? So let's never forget. When you come in, you get you something to eat. You get you something to drink. You get you something to smoke if that's what you do. Okay? But at the end of the day, you can never forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and share this with the world. Check this out, fam. See, this crazy work right here. Let me tell you what's crazy about the work. See, I brought this to you tonight because I wanted you to understand that people out here dressing up like ICE. And they pulling fake cards right now. And that's the time we really living in, to where people is literally out here living and looking like ICE. And they not even ICE. And then think about it. They so don't even care that they would risk their own life to act like ICE. That's a bar, Chris. They'll risk their own life to act like ICE. And think they won't get caught. Is you stupid? ICE right now has no face. They have no identity. And then they also are having no accountability. So those things alone let me further know that if we don't stop them, shut them down, or even show or record every time you run into an ICE agent, you better have a phone. Because at this point, you got to understand, they not in South Carolina. They not in Atlanta. They not in St. Louis. No, they not. No. See, they in California at the borders. You understand? They in Minneapolis still. But the thing is that the leader of ICE, which was the on-floor patrolman, Mr. Greg, he started talking big smack about if you say this and you say that, it's consequences. He basically is on the camera saying it's consequences for everything we do, consequences for everything we say, consequences for whatever we tell the people. And he talking big smack. But the funny part is that he was just removed from Minnesota today, which was a blessing. The man was removed from Minneapolis today. Yeah, he was, fam. The man was removed from Minneapolis today. One, because it's his foolery. Two, because of the fact of what he said, extracurriculum wise. Three, because they about to investigate who shot, who unalived Mr. Pretty, Alex Pretty. And the biggest thing about that is that once they tap into knowing or saying, hey, okay, well, this is who did it, they looking into that man now. That's the difference, fam. That's the difference now, fam. Because now you looking at people saying that he is sent back to California's borders to be the chief on the ground for immigrants. And the chief of ICE is being called into court. And they about to probably hold him in contempt, because when they told him to pull up, see, I'm about to play this video, because when they told him to pull up in court, that man never pulled up at all. Man never pulled up. The chief, not the chief, I would say the chief of ICE, the head of ICE, this man never pulled up at all. He totally ignored the court. He ignored all that was in tune, all that was involved. And because he did that, he's about to be held in contempt because of that, which is truly a blessing. Because you look at all of this ruckus going on, and you see all of this chaos and all of this brutality and this innocent unaliving, and you look to say, who's gonna do something? You praying to God, you praying to the Most High, you pray to Yahshua, Yahweh. Listen to me. You're praying. And you're like, who's gonna do something? Like, who is gonna step up and take a stand? And I think that's the problem, tying in the building. I think that's the problem, because we don't see that. We don't know who. And because we don't see it, and because we don't know who, I think that is the main issue that we're really having right now. Because we don't see who can step up, who will step up, who just got enough kahunas to step up and be like, hey man, this ain't right. The way y'all going about things, y'all just out here brutally slaving folk and just brutally unaliving people for nothing. And somebody has to answer for this. You get what I'm saying? And then the main thing is the guy that shot or unalived Alex Pretty, they trying to let him back onto the streets to still patrol ICE. And I feel like the guy that unalived Renee Good shouldn't be on the streets, and the guy that unalived Alex Pretty shouldn't be on the streets at all either. That's what I believe. So the biggest deal is, that's a big deal, you know, that's even like that. You know what I'm saying? That's a big deal that that's even like that. But the fact is, one by one, they're going to have to break ICE down. They're going to have to stop funding ICE, which would break them from the inside without having no funds. Where y'all going to get the money from to do what y'all doing? And then also, too, they're going to have to start holding people in jail. Period. Holding folk in contempt, holding them behind bars, just holding them. And they got to make sure that evidence is not tampered with. They got to make sure evidence is not removed. You get what I'm saying? These people need to be, they totally need to be accountable for what they've just did. And they did it under the leadership of Trump, and Trump cares nothing about them. Think about that. Think about that. They just sat there and unalived 2 people. And they did it all under the name of Trump. You better hear me. They did that all under the name of Trump. They gonna go to sleep knowing that they did that and Trump was okay with them. But the point is, they gotta get locked up. They gotta do that time. Trump's still gonna be in the White House eating steak, lobster, and everything else. I bet that's when they gonna think about, they know they trip. Cause you just sat there and did that to them folk for Trump and Trump's name, and Trump gonna be worried about what? He still gotta deal with the Epstein files. It don't even matter. But you gonna be locked up for that. You think Trump gonna protect you from that? Listen, man, people coming for you, boy. Is you crazy? They want you locked up for that. You don't get no pass. They want you locked up for that. Alex, Renee, yeah. It's only a matter of time. Because what's going on in Minneapolis ain't going to continue to happen. Trouble don't last always. Understand the realness of that saying. Trouble don't last always. That's a real thing. But I'm here to tell you, they want those people to be held and accountable for their crimes. You will know when this day happens, and you will know that justice is being served, that they felt like they could create some regime without no identity to come to police the streets, and now y'all out here corrupting, causing problems, and unaliving people. That's what's going on, fam. That's the problem.
A monetary amount, it can be jail time, it can be a number of things. But what I can tell you is nobody wants to be in contempt. Contempt is not punitive. Contempt things that occurred over the last few days. Unrest is probably the easiest way to describe what's happening after the second deadly shooting in the state. But what I can talk about right now is the U.S. District Court judge in Minnesota is requesting and requiring what's called a show cause for Todd Lyons to appear in court for a number of reasons. And so I had an opportunity to clerk for a judge when I was in law school. I got a law degree, but I also have an advanced law degree. So my advanced law degree was 2 years. During that 2-year time frame, I clerked for a judge. And so judges speak through their orders. They may say a number of things in court, but if it's not written down in an order, it really didn't happen. And so with this case, why the judge is asking him and forcing him and requesting him to appear in court is that there was an order for an individual to have a bond hearing. There was an habeas corpus petition. The habeas petition was filed. The judge listened to it, heard it, and said, you have to give this person a bond hearing within 7 days. Well, the 7 days passed. His attorneys filed a complaint and said, hey, Your Honor, they have not complied with your order. Why? The judge wants to know the exact same thing. And the standard is pretty clear. Was my order unambiguous? Did you have an ability to comply? And have you failed to comply? Yeah. So when Mr. Lyons gets to court in Minnesota, he'll have to be able to tell the judge, hey, I did not have an ability to comply.
No, they didn't,
or
DJ.
Your order was unambiguous. It was ambiguous and I was confused. Or I just neglected and didn't want to follow your order. If it's the last one, which I hope that it isn't, the judge has not
accountability that the ISIS need to take.
Contempt can be a monetary amount. It can be jail time. It can be a number of things. But what I can tell you is nobody wants to be in contempt. Contempt is not punitive. Contempt is something to force you to respond, force you to react. It is often said that when you're held in contempt,
and it's my American right to tell you tripped.
And so, you know how you get out of jail?
You don't own the land.
Just comply.
You just
I know people often say, well, if you just comply, those things wouldn't happen. But in this scenario right here, if a judge holds you in contempt after the end of a show cause hearing, the way you get that to end is that you comply. So in this scenario, it would be giving this individual a bond hearing, but the judge's original order said if you didn't
Cause see, we got real ducks in here. Sharon, Muser, Logan, AGA 8451 says, so messing with ICE is okay. DJ Fusion says he has every right for deportation, and you don't have the right to stop my vote. It's called insurrection. And then he says you don't like it, vote it out. That's what's up. Well, we all have a vote of what we want. That don't mean you ain't tripping. That don't mean you wrong. That don't mean you right. Because your wrong is more different than saying you don't choose the people at the end of the day. You choose the person. And then when you end up unalive for whatever you standing for, you're just gonna be stupid. And then you ain't gonna have nobody. But to be honest, people like you find yourself running after people when it happens to you or your family members. That's when I heard you start talking different. When it happens to your family member, you stop talking like a duck. You stop quacking. See, minding your own business makes me further know that you're not human. Because a human has charisma, and charisma is carrying feelings. And those feelings is just like every man that I know that says, Alex Pretty chose his fate. When they pushed that woman down, he chose his fate right there. Because he knew that if he stepped in and even tried to help her up, the way ISIS has been acting, they could have just automatically stepped to him, jumped him, and unalived him. So when you're thinking about that situation, listen to what I'm saying, DJ Fusion, Gaming, talking about your family, Americans, it don't matter what y'all is, Americans, Europeans, it don't matter who you are. You're a human against the law, black, white, whatever. They killing women and men, black, white, whatever, right? Point I'm making is, again, they pushed a woman down, and they pushed her down very firmly. So stop talking stupid when you talking about them messing with ISIS. No, they not messing with ISIS. ISIS pulling up on people messing with them. Okay? ISIS messed with that lady. They pushed that lady. And when I say pushed her, they pushed her so bad that her feet went up in the air and her head went down to the ground. That's how bad they pushed her. So if that was your mama, DJ Fusion, your sister, grandma, auntie, whichever woman's body you came out of, if that was that woman, you would have wanted Alex to help the body of the woman that you came out of. Let me run that back again, DJ Fusion. If that was if that was a body that you came out of, you would feel some type of way, boy. You would have wanted any man, even me, if I was there and that was the body that you came out of, got pushed down on the ground like that, you would have wanted me to step in and help your mom. Yeah, you would have. You would have wanted me to step in and help your mom. And that's all Alex did. Alex stepped in and lended a hand. I don't want to hear that to my mistakes what happened, but it's my American right to have mad. That's fine. You can have whoever you want not to be here. You could be white and don't even want blacks here. That's fine too. Point I'm making though is, at the end of the day, Alex and that white and that lady with no immigrants being no deported. When you done talking about what you talking about, we talking about two people out there protesting that ICE need to leave. So we're not talking about immigrants, deportation. This ain't none of that. We talking about your mama getting pushed down by ISIS and me or Alex stepping in to help your mama out. Or we gonna let them treat her like a dog. A female dog at that. You know what that is, don't you? So you want us to let ISIS treat your mama like a female dog. They throwing down on the ground. And you telling me that man stepped in and he should have minded his business? Get yourself together, man. If that was your mama, you'd have wanted me to help her so fast, so bad, so quick. And you wouldn't be sitting there. You would have sat there and watched every camera angle there is. That's what you would have did. We ain't talking about no deportations. We ain't talking about the border. We talking about you would have wanted me to help your mama. So I don't want to hear nothing else about people talking about he shouldn't have messed with ICE. The man didn't mess with ICE. He messed with your mama. ICE ain't police. Get yourself together. They're not police. That's where you also brainwashed. They're not police. These are a group of regular men and people from all walks of life, mainly white, walking around with face masks on and bullying the world. What you talking about? That's fine. Even if you voted for ICE to exist, that makes sense. Because you're saying who needs to go where they need to go are the people that's illegal. Because I'm going to be honest, it's a lot of people that's over here. It's a lot of people over here that's making up room or taking up room for people that's supposed to be here that's already here. So when you're looking at people that's here already and you talking about y'all pulling up in our house trying to do this and live off our land and do all of that, people got an argument for that. There's no argument for that. But if you pull up and you got the right to be here, then you here. You got your papers, you here, bang, we here. We doing this. We popping. Let's get it together. But it's a difference when we talking about ICE ain't never been new. ICE ain't new. ICE been here. ICE been going on. The point I'm making is again, they don't get to sit there and just unalive people. They don't get to push down your mama, your auntie, your sister, your cousin. They don't get to bully the people. You don't get to just pull me as a black man out of my car because I'm at the light waiting to go to my job. And you just pull up on my car and just take me out of my car. And as you can see, I am nothing of anything at the border. And even if I give you my ID and you see I'm an American citizen, that should stand. So to me, ICE shouldn't exist. There should be a real police and real police officers that exist that should be at a certain situation in the manner that they're in to exist in that way. But the way they're going about things, there's no order, there's no justice, and there's no liberty in law. You understand? There's no liberty in the law in the way that they are opposing the law. Okay? Because at the end of the day, you should be able to see my face if I'm telling you you need to step back and go on about your business. If I'm telling you it's a problem, you need to know I'm the problem maker and problem solver. You need to see my face. You need to know how I'm coming. And you need to know I am the authority given by Donald Trump. So that means I can show my face. That means I should be able to, that's what I'm trying to tell you, fam. ICE is crooked, boy. ICE ain't right. No, ICE ain't right at all. So let's stop talking like ICE right. ICE ain't right. ICE should be showing, if they are a law enforcement, they should abide by the levels of rules that all do. Even the Navy, Marines, soldiers still show their face. And they in the war field. They in the battlefield. These fake ICE agents is just regular guys from anybody's household that signed up with Trump and put this on and say they finna be some law enforcement. Half of them probably ain't never even been a police in their life. A soldier, never served, never even done anything. See, that's another thing you don't understand. You looking at them like they is, but half of them, some of them could be rapists, murderers, and so forth and so on. You don't know their backgrounds, none of them. So other than that, you wouldn't know nothing, Wild Rodriguez. And I appreciate you being here. Hit that like button, become a member. We want you to come back, stupid. We appreciate you, dumbass. You here. We appreciate you. That's the point of you being here. Talk that talk, boy. Because we know you ain't did nothing. And anything we feel like you have done, you ain't doing nothing because you ain't making no sense. You don't feel no type of way. And you one of them government following people that just gonna die. Just like they want you to just sit there and just die for them for no cause, lost cause. You look like a lost cause, just standing for some stupid while they over here killing your people and mine. But you just still one of them dumb people that are just coming here and still think, boy, you stupid. You lost. Just to even think that America matters. Nothing matters at this point but survival. Human survival. And Rodriguez, you don't know nothing, brother. But you right, I don't do nothing but talk. That's why it's a podcast, stupid. And that's all I'm going to do. You see it? You see it? Yeah, this is a podcast. This is what we do is talk. Yeah. And what action I'm finna do right here while I'm in my podcast talking? Stupid ass. Go ahead. What I'm going to do while I'm just sitting there talking? As we should be doing. Right. And where you at? Right here with us behind the lines, dumbass. Keep coming. Because you right here, stupid. You right here with me. So we about to cook you too because you right here with me, fam. Yeah. 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 You don't even know what them front lines look like. You couldn't bear them lines. Where we from, you couldn't bear them lines, little boy. So I'm just telling you again, hit that like button, double tap that screen, subscribe, become a member today. Don't forget, it's a reason. We here to read in between the headlines. Right now, you listening to this man tell you about these folk and about why ICE is finna be held in contempt. Ha! How you like that, Juan Rodriguez? Y'all finna be held in contempt since you ride with them. Go on and go put on that ICE jumpsuit that we just seen and go get with them so you can be locked up too, stupid. Ruth in the building. Ha!
Give him on here that he needed to be released within 7 days. And this is in response to what's happening in Minnesota, is that they're getting these individuals, they're taking them in these detention processes without giving them a due process of a bond hearing, and then they're sending them to Texas. The judge says that that's a violation of their constitutional rights of due process, and because it's a violation of due process, you need to be explaining to the court why you are not following our orders. The last thing I'll say is, and I talk about this a lot, when judges speak to the orders, most of the time they're pretty...
He said he a foreigner.
This judge says in here that the court has been extremely patient with respondents. Even though respondents decided to send 1,000 agents to Minnesota to detain aliens without making any provision for dealing with the hundreds of habeas petitions and other lawsuits that were sure to result. But the court says the court's patience is at an end. And that's why the court is now asking that the acting director of ICE, Todd Lyons, come to court and show cause. Show your hand. Tell me exactly why you failed to listen to my order.
Stupid. We was out there when they did Mike Brown like this.
To make a
Why
decision
you
at
talking?
that hearing,
Stupid.
on if I should implement.
You know how many years ago that was, don't you?
Proceeding specifically some monetary or financial fines. But this is the next
Juan right here with us talking.
You have an administration that is challenging the strength of the executive branch, but they're also trying to see ways
still right here with us,
challenge the judicial system. So you can challenge the judicial system in a number of ways. You can listen to a court's order, or you can disregard a court's order. I don't do nothing for the community. But you can't. They're doing here, which is disregard a court.
I do this podcast to inform, understand, and be aware.
Like my order.
That if it walk like her, that if it talk like her, then you know it's a duck. That's what we doing for the community, letting them know about people like you, stupid. Like your quacking. Yeah, you about your duckery. Yeah, your crackery. We let you know we duck hunting. Because the moment you come in the pod, we know what's going on with you. You married and now you want to cry? No, it's okay. I need to make sure that you hit that like button, double tap that screen right now. It's important that you do that. You understand what I'm saying? It's very important that you do that because we want to make sure you stay so we can change your mind. We got to change your mind, especially when your mind is lost. Because at the end of the day, when my fam gets you, you gotta keep yourself together. When my fam get up on you, I'm trying to spare your life having this conversation with you. But my fam in here really see your ignorance and your rudeness and your disrespect towards human mankind. So when I tell you they about to light you up, brace yourself. Hit that like button, double tap that screen. Let's go.
Are still valid and it hasn't been stayed by some other judge because there's
Roof in the building. Let's let them know how we coming and started on the top of the real G.
Out to the other big story this Sunday. Tonight, new details are emerging about the fatal...
I ain't lying. His name Juan Rodriguez. I was waiting on you to pull up, Roof, so you can give him all of that. Like, cause you listen, my connections is deep, Juan. You might want to watch your mouth. You can talk that whatever, but I'm telling you, watch your mouth. Yeah, because you can speak it in another language. All my folk in here, fam, we know how you coming. We can bring that right back at you 10 times over. Watch your mouth.
Shooting of an ICU nurse in Minneapolis by federal agents. It was caught on video by several witnesses, but local, state, and federal officials are providing starkly different accounts of what happened. CBS's Lana Zach is in Minneapolis tonight with the latest.
Good evening, Jerika. We have learned that the agents involved in that shooting are still on the job, but they've been moved out of Minneapolis to other locations.
Ice out! Ice out!
Roughly 1,000 people marched through the streets of downtown Minneapolis today, demanding federal agents leave their city. 2 miles away, there's a memorial for Alex Preddy, the second U.S. citizen killed in Minneapolis by federal agents this month.
What we are experiencing here is terror.
Today, ICE Commander Gregory Bovino called Preddy and Renee Good suspects. The Trump administration has repeatedly blamed them for deadly confrontations with agents.
When someone makes the choice to come into an active law enforcement scene, interfere, obstruct, delay, or assault law enforcement officers, and they bring a weapon to do that, that is a choice that individual made.
Multiple cell phone videos captured those final moments before Preddy was killed. In the footage, he is seen holding a cell phone before several officers tackle him. One appears to retrieve a gun and turn away. Then at least one agent shoots and kills him. Preddy was a lawful gun owner with a permit to carry a handgun in Minnesota.
We believe that Donald Trump needs to pull these 3,000 untrained agents out of Minnesota before they kill another person.
Minnesota officials are demanding to be allowed to investigate Preddy's death. But like the fatal shooting of Renee Good, they say Trump administration officials are preventing them. Late Saturday, a federal judge issued a temporary order blocking the Trump administration from destroying or altering evidence related to the shooting. Preddy worked as an intensive care nurse at a VA hospital. In a social media video, he's seen conducting a hallway memorial for a deceased veteran.
May we never forget and always remember our brothers and sisters who have served.
In a statement on Saturday, Preddy's parents said, "The sickening lies told about our son by the administration are reprehensible and disgusting. Please get the truth out about our son. He was a good man."
The family of Renee Good just released a statement. They say that ICE activity has clearly gone too far. Commander Bovino says that immigration activity here will continue unabated. Jerika?
All right, Lana Zach for us tonight.
Calling law enforcement names like Gestapo or using the term kidnapping, that is a choice that is made. There are actions and consequences that come from those choices. And then when someone chooses to listen to a politician, a so-called journalist, a community leader that spouted that type of vilification towards law enforcement or anything else, when you choose to listen to that, that is a choice and there are consequences and actions there also. I think we saw that yesterday.
You're watching The Legal Breakdown, Glenn. That was Greg Bovino, who is in charge of Customs and Border Patrol, basically offering up this idea that if you call federal agents kidnappers or Gestapo, that there will be consequences. So is there any legality to what he's saying here?
No, because first of all, they're acting like Gestapo and they are kidnapping people. Let me say it again. We've seen them kidnap people, including American citizens who they put in a jail cell for a day or two. Then they open the cell door, let them walk out, and they're not charged with anything. Why? Because there was no basis to take them into custody in the first place. When you take somebody into custody, when you detain them with absolutely no lawful basis or authority, you know what we prosecutors call that? Kidnapping, right? Sometimes we call it false imprisonment. So it's insane that a guy like Bovino is doing what he is doing. He and his ICE officers out in the street. We see it with our own eyes. It's being documented by citizens on their cell phones. It looks like they are acting like the Gestapo. It looks like they are kidnapping people. And indeed, based on the reporting, they actually are. But he says, don't you dare use those words to criticize us. You know, it's beyond a First Amendment free speech violation. It is a fantasy land that he's living in. And I mean, the only good news, Brian, is the courts continue to hold strong, and there's no court in the country, I don't care who appointed the federal judge, who would say that that's right. If Bovino says the citizenry can't use certain words to describe them, we're just going to go ahead and let Donald Trump's DOJ charge those people with federal crimes for using those words. That is effing ridiculous.
Just a quick note for those who are watching right now, if you'd like to follow along with this news and all other legal news, the best way to do that is to subscribe to both of our channels. I'm going to put those links in the post description of this video. Glenn, what are the legal implications of a government official speaking on behalf of the US government, basically this idea that he is criminalizing speech, that if you deign to acknowledge objective reality, that ICE is kidnapping people, that ICE is using Gestapo tactics, that there will be consequences for doing so. And you know, he even says in that clip that if you listen to this kind of stuff, there will be consequences for that as well. So are there any legal implications of basically the criminalization of free speech?
You know, unfortunately, particularly when we have a Department of Justice and its leadership that is not at all loyal to the rule of law or the Constitution, it's very hard to envision consequences presently while, you know, Trump and Bondi and Nome and company are still in power and running roughshod over the rights of the American people. He could be fired from his job, but Kristi Noem is not going to fire him. Congress could act to defund, his position, to defund ICE agents, to, defund certain components of DHS, all of which I hope they will do. And I would urge all of our viewers to call their elected officials in Washington and urge them to stop funding lawlessness, unconstitutionality, and murder. Stop funding it, because you're harming the American people. You're hurting your own constituents. And of course, Brian, once these people fall from power, and they will, whether Donald Trump makes it his entire term or not, they will fall from power at some point. That's when criminal investigations will need to commence, because this old RICO prosecutor looks at Donald Trump's executive branch, and I see a criminal enterprise. And I don't use that term flippantly. I mean, I see an organization that is being run as, a criminal outfit headed up by Donald Trump, who is essentially the mob boss. He's got his consigliere and Pam Bondi over at the Department of Justice. He's got his underbosses. He's got his capos, right? He's got a lot of wise guys in his organization. And so, if we've learned nothing from the timidity and inaction of the Merrick Garland Department of Justice previously, which has brought us to exactly where we are today, we have to learn the lesson that, runaway criminality by an executive branch of the federal government needs to be met with the rule of law. So yes, down the road, there may very well be consequences for Bovino and his ilk. It's just they're feeling themselves right now because they've got people like Noem and Bondi and Trump who have their back.
Glenn, I want to throw another clip of Bovino up onto the screen.
All agents that were involved in that scene are working, not in Minneapolis, but in other locations. That's for their safety. There's this thing called doxing, and the safety of our employees is very important to us. So we're going to keep those employees safe. As far as the number of shots, the number of agents involved, that again is going to come out in the investigation. I'm not going to speculate on who did what, when they did it, how they did it, or what exactly occurred there. I'm going to wait for the investigation to let me know what happened. Because before those facts come out, we need to ensure that we're talking truthfully and accurately. And before I speculate, I'm going to talk truthfully and accurately.
So right there, Bovino was asked about the identity of the ICE agent who shot Alex Preddy. We obviously know the identity of the ICE agent, Jonathan Ross, who shot Renee Good. Now we're not getting any of that information. And so in very much the same way that DHS shut down the BCA, which is the state investigators who wanted to look into what happened with the killing of Alex Preddy, and now that's not happening. The DHS has also learned from their mistakes, quote unquote, from the first time, which is that when the identity of the ICE agent is revealed, that people will learn that person's name and want to rightfully hold them to account for what they've done, which is to commit murder. And so can I have your reaction to this idea that far from any accountability, they're not even sharing any of the information about who this rogue ICE agent is?
Right. Anonymity breeds abuse, right? But, with transparency and with an investigation into what happened, that's the only way you can address lawlessness by a runaway rogue component of DHS, ICE. ICE has distinguished itself as lawless. We've seen reports in Minnesota over and over again where they're unlawfully detaining police officers, Minnesota police officers who are off duty, but they happen to be minorities. So they're being unlawfully detained. In fact, at least one indicated that she was assaulted when she had her cell phone snatched out of her hand when she simply tried to record the encounter. With anonymity comes abuse of power. And that's what we've seen. I do not subscribe to doxing. Nobody should dox people who are government agents or officials. Don't endanger them and their families and go to their homes. But we do need these people to be fully, fairly, and thoroughly investigated, and they need to be held accountable for the crimes they've committed. I mean, I watched the videos of the Alex Preddy murder, right? They executed an unarmed man after they disarmed him, even though he was in lawful possession of his own firearm. He had a concealed carry permit, according to the reporting, and he didn't even reach for or brandish his weapon. He was brandishing nothing but a cell phone to record the ICE abuse he was witnessing. They removed his gun from the holster, took it away, and then they executed him. They murdered him. And that is something that has to be investigated. I recently authored a piece jointly with Dave Ehrenberg. He's a longtime state court prosecutor. I was a career federal prosecutor, and we set out a blueprint for how the Minnesota law enforcement authorities can and must aggressively investigate not only Renee Good's killing, but now the murder of Alex Preddy. And they can.
We're back here for you on Live Now from Fox. I'm your host, Mike Page. Thanks again for joining us. Want to continue to bring you the very latest in Minneapolis as tensions continue to be high. Fox News' Garrett Tenney with a breakdown.
President Trump standing firm, voicing support for Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem amid intense backlash for the shooting death of 37-year-old Alex Preddy by Border Patrol officers. It's the second deadly shooting by federal agents in Minnesota this month.
I think she's doing a very good job. The border is totally secure.
That backing comes as House and Senate Democrats call for Noem to resign or step down, accusing her of destroying public confidence in DHS. Some even threatening impeachment proceedings over Nome, almost immediately calling Preddy a domestic terrorist following the shooting.
Well, you know what? Doing a big investigation. I want a big investigation. I'm going to be watching over it. I want a very honorable and honest investigation.
Protests in Minnesota continue, with more than 100 demonstrators gathering outside the governor's office today to demand the arrest of federal officers involved in Preddy and Renee Good's deaths.
Get him, cat.
Amid the ongoing pressure, the White House announced a shakeup in leadership for Operation Metro Surge. Border Patrol Commander-at-Large Greg Bovino leaving Minneapolis, with Border Czar Tom Homan taking his place.
He's professional, and I think he will do a dramatically better job of leading ICE to the right kind of behavior than the people did at Homeland Security.
Minnesota's governor and Minneapolis' mayor met with Homan today and both described the talks as productive, with Walz saying he stressed the importance of an impartial investigation into the Minneapolis shootings. In Minneapolis, I'm Garrett Tenney, Fox News.
Garrett, we always appreciate those updates, and we do have some new information tonight in the investigation for the situation that unfolded out in Minneapolis. We are learning tonight that 2 federal officers fired shots during the encounter that killed ICU nurse Alex Preddy in Minneapolis. A Customs and Border Protection official told Congress in a notice sent today. Officers tried to take Preddy into custody and he resisted, leading to a struggle, according to a notification that Congress obtained by the Associated Press. During the struggle, a Border Patrol agent yelled, "He's got a gun," multiple times, the official said. A Border Patrol officer and a CBP officer each fired Glock pistols, the notice said. Investigators from CBP's Office of Professional Responsibility conducted the analysis based on a review of body-worn camera footage and agency documentation, the notice said. The law requires the agency to inform relevant congressional committees about deaths in CBP custody within 72 hours. And that reaction is continuing tonight. You can see the Associated Press continuing to really document this big news that was made public now to congressional members on the Hill. So, of course, we will hear much more as this investigation does continue, but I wanted to bring this to your attention. We'll continue to follow it every step of the way for you on Live Now from Fox.
Willie D Live.
What's up, family? Chaos in Minnesota at the town hall meeting. We got Representative Ilhan Omar, who was sprayed with a foreign substance by a madman. Yeah, a madman who represents MAGA. Yeah, fam, check it out.
Kristi Noem must resign or face impeachment. I don't know.
Oh my God, he sprayed something on her face.
I need a napkin to know nothing. We will continue this.
All right, fam, y'all saw that. Let me remove that right quick. So this is the woman in question. This is Kristi Noem. This is Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. She's the one that's running the show with ICE, and she's backing up all the Trump rhetoric. Trump recently threw her under the bus. Trump was like, look, man, you bring the heat on me, unnecessary heat. You know I'm gonna blame everything on you. So, you know, anytime something goes wrong, Trump will give you a position, but anything goes wrong, even if it's at the behest of him, if your directives are at the behest of him, he's still going to blame you. And Trump threw her all the way under the bus. Now she's out there on her own. She's fearing for her job. She might be unemployed real soon. A number of Republicans actually some of Trump's closest advisors are advising that he gets rid of her. At this point, they're saying that Kristi Noem is a liability. They're calling her a liability. Yeah, fam. So let's get into the story right here. We got chaos at a Minnesota town hall where Representative Ilhan Omar was speaking. A man rushed up to the podium and squirted her with an unknown substance. The Congresswoman was meeting in her Minneapolis district Tuesday for her first town hall since Border Patrol agents shot and killed Alex Preddy when she was approached by the liquid spraying maniac. Omar had just called on Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem to resign when the man leapt out of his seat and charged at her, squirting her top with an unknown liquid substance. The guy was quickly grabbed by security as Omar's shocked supporters looked on in horror. So, fam, remember how I tell y'all all the time about these celebrities and, you know, how every single celebrity, almost every single celebrity that's ever been shot, they had their security around. The security was close by. Some of our biggest celebrities, biggest entertainers, they had security with them when they were killed, including Martin Luther King Jr., including Malcolm X, including Tupac, including Biggie. All these guys had security around them or close by. They should have been on detail, but they wasn't. This is why it is important to look out for yourself, first and foremost, because see, these security people, security personnel, they got family to go home to. So their number one job is to get back home to their family. Ain't nobody gonna leap in front of no bullet for you. The last time that happened was when Ronald Reagan got shot up. And that dude, what's his name, Brady, I believe his last name is Brady because they started the Brady Law behind it. When he jumped in front of that, he put his body between Ronald Reagan and an assassin's bullet. That is very, very rare. Most of these guys are gonna let you die. When them killers come, they're gonna let you die. Now, as long as ain't no killers coming, as long as it's easy peasy, it ain't really dangerous, oh man, they ready to ride. They ready to rock and roll. They gonna put the gloves on, they got the suit, vest on, and they're ready to go. But when those things start, boop, 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 man, they ducking and dodging, they getting out of the way. You saw what happened when Trump allegedly got shot. Secret Service was getting out the way. They didn't rush to cover him. They made sure that it wasn't a threat first. They made sure that those bullets had stopped ringing out first. Yeah, they didn't just rush and go grab him. But even if they did, that was after the fact. That was after he got shot, allegedly. So you gotta kind of watch it. You gotta, not kind of, but you gotta watch your own back around here. I had these guys coming up to me and stuff. Look, fam, it's always good to have extra layers of protection and buffers and all that. That's always good. But can't nobody guard my body better than me. You start talking about these bodyguards, can't nobody guard my body better than me. I go to sleep and wake up with my body. I got stewardship over my body. I'm always thinking about what's best for my body, what's best for me, my body. I'm always looking after my body. Security guard is getting paid.
In the fifth, we oftentimes talk about how important it is for us to go govern together, and I am really delighted for the showing from local electeds who represent the constituents.
Okay, now, as you can see in this picture here, The man that runs up is right there. Okay? He's right there. You see him right there. You see him. That's the man right there that runs up and sprays her with, that's him right there. Yeah, him right there. He runs up and sprays. Now think about it. This is the beginning of the whole speech. So he been sitting there laying on her. He laying on her. He laying on her, Chris, right in front of her. That's how you lay on them, in front of them, fam. Let them know that's how I'm coming. I'm just laying on you, waiting on you. Yeah, I'm just laying on you. Yeah, I'm just laying on you. That's what he doing. He just sitting there just laying on her, fam. Just laying on them, fam. That's what he doing, Rubes. He just laying on her. Look at him. He right there. Look at him. He just, him right there. Yeah, him. He just laying like, yeah, Roof. Just how close he was laying on. I ain't lying, cat. This is what it is. This how close he just laying on, just looking. Like, yeah, I'm coming. I'm coming. I'm about to spray you with some acid. I'm about to spray you with something you can't even get up with. That's how I'm coming, Juan. You gotta watch your mouth, man, because my people in here ready to pick you up, drop you off somewhere. I'm gonna be real with you, Pod. You gotta watch your mouth. But this how he looking. Him right there laying on him. Now check this out. Check this out.
In the fifth, we oftentimes talk about how important it is for us to go govern together, and I am really delighted for the showing from local electeds who
Driller By said, can I give you a shout out on my channel? What your channel about, fam? I appreciate you, man. Long as y'all straight up and down, man, I'm with you, man. Anybody that you can share this with the world, fam. I appreciate you, fam. Respectfully, Dilla T and my fam. And this is No Filters. Make sure you mention my fam here at No Filters with your boy Dilla T, man. I appreciate you.
represent the constituents that we get to represent
Straight
on
plot, bro.
I want to start by recognizing the fact that on January 24th, ICE agents murdered another member of our community. Alex Jeremy Preddy was an ICU nurse at the Minneapolis VA. He was an avid outdoorsman, a U.S. citizen. He was an incredibly compassionate person who cared for others countlessly. This is what he appeared to be doing just before being murdered, protecting another.
Hey, Juan, watch your mouth. Don't get to talking all that single black mama stuff, dog. It's all fun and games talking hip. You can be hip, that's fine. Don't get to getting all personal with all of that dirt. Hit that like button, double tap that screen, let's go.
Observer that was being attacked by ICE agents. Alex's murder by federal agents was not accidental or isolated. We witnessed this during the murder of Renee Good by federal agents. ICE's reckless and lawless actions have taken a mother from 3 children, a partner from a wife, and inflicted unfathomable pain on our community. Similar to Alex and Renee, they were exercising their First Amendment right, an act that this administration has deemed a capital offense. Renee Good should be alive. Alex Preddy should still be alive. Please, let's take a moment of silence for Alex and Renee. Thank you. My deepest condolences go out to Alex and Renee's family, friends, and everyone who knew and loved them. We will not stop fighting until we achieve real justice and accountability. The level of violence, federal overreach, lawlessness carried out in the name of immigration enforcement is unprecedented. U.S. citizens are being assaulted and detained. Minnesotans are expected to carry their citizenship papers. People are dying in ICE custody. This administration has reduced any semblance of due process, sending people out of state to prevent them from having legal representation. Doors are being broken down without judicial warrants. Chemical evidence, pepper balls, flashbangs are being used without a second thought. DHS is thriving in secrecy, obscuring the conditions my constituents are being held in. This is not the America we know. This is not the America we love. Every Minnesotan has a right to feel safe and welcomed. Earlier this month, I called at a hearing with Representative Chaya Paul on Trump's deadly assault on Minnesota. We welcome 27 members of Congress to hear from witnesses on what has been happening on the ground and raise the alarm. Trump and his paramilitary immigration enforcement will not get away with their unlawful attacks on our state. The Constitution is on our side, and we will fight every single day to defend it. As it's been said, real justice and accountability starts with full, transparent investigation and legal action against ICE, followed by the abolishment of the agency. ICE cannot be reformed, it cannot be rehabilitated. We must abolish ICE for good. And DHS Secretary Kristi Noem must resign or face impeachment. I don't know.
Oh my God, he sprayed something on her.
I need a napkin to know nothing.
But look how long he took to pop up.
And DHS Secretary Kristi Noem must resign or face impeachment. I don't know.
Oh my God, he sprayed something on her.
I need a napkin to know nothing.
No. You're fine. You need to go get checked.
No, we will continue. These fucking assholes are not gonna get away.
You need to go get checked. That's whatever it smells so bad. She needs to go get checked. I don't know
That's
what
they want. Please don't let them know.
It's not about him, Ilhan. It's not about him. It's about your safety. No, he sprayed something on you. You need to go get checked. Yeah, and it smells terrible.
We're gonna keep talking. Just give me 10 minutes.
And this is crazy work. First of all, dude been sitting there the whole time. He get up, spray something. They like, it smells so bad, you need to get checked. That can be anything, okay? Anything. I'm looking for the fakeness. You hear me, Skull? Listen to me, Skull. Hit that like button, double tap that screen, Skull. I'm looking for the fakeness. So that's why I rewinded it to see if she was, listen to me, Kat. I'm trying to see if she's actually, I'm trying to see if she did like a, you know, something saying like she was initiating, you know what I'm saying? Like she was waiting for it to come. You know what I mean? I'm trying to see if her body language is saying, oh, somebody about to spray me. Because after she said what she said it so fast that dude got up, and I think for a split second, watch.
We must abolish ICE for good.
I'm trying to see if she was anticipating.
And DHS Secretary Kristi Noem must resign or face impeachment. I don't know.
And then what else is crazy is after he sprays her, he walks off a little bit and she tries to go after him like she about to swing on him. It's a part of me that says that's real, a part of me that looks like that's a little fake in a way. Because she could have went for him if she wanted him. It was kind of like I'm going to go for him because I'm a woman, but he's still a man and I really don't know if he is really who he is or what he is. But this man been sitting on the front row and get up after you say Kristi Noem needs to be impeached, spray you with something horrible smelling, runs to the, didn't even run, he just kind of backed off while he was spraying, and you about to run up on him, knowing you can get on him, but at the same time, you a government official. What are you doing? Your security should have been up so faster or not even had that room of space for her to even feel like she could have even got at him. So that's another thing that makes me think in my mind, this could have been staged. But the other part that makes me think it's not, she still wants to go on with the interview, with the conference, with the presser. So her press conference right there, she still wants to go on it, regardless if she just got sprayed with something horrible. First of all, she don't even know what she got sprayed with. But everybody else like, no, you need to go. No, you need to go. You need to go because you might have got sprayed with something where your little body finna start melting. Your skin probably finna start doing something. Oh, God. What if she was right there and she doing her press conference, her skin just started to... What, you know what I'm saying? While she right there still trying, and her skin, they just sprayed her, and her skin was just, that's why she need to go get checked. But she right there, Chris, man, she right there like, no, that's what they want. She's so tough. That's how you know she not American. Let's get that off the flip. She not American. She been through something, all right? She from over that place where they don't walk around with no shoes on. They just feet and sandals, all right? She about that business. She was finna run up on dude with no gun, nothing. So what that tell you about how she coming? See, that foreign life different, fam. And that's why I felt like it was, but the fact that she was like, oh, no, hold on, dirty, what you want? And she was like, I don't care what he just sprayed on me. They want us to end this press conference. And I get it. That's why I really feel her, because she was like, oh, no, we not doing that. They want us to do it. And she cussing. If you can hear, she cussing like she's straight from the hood. When it first went down, she immediately cussing. You can hear it, Chris, right out the mouth. So that's what I'm saying. We're going to play it back one more time. Look at it, see it, look at response, look at how she reacted, and then see how they didn't do nothing, and then see how fast the security pulled up. And then all of a sudden you see how they reacted to it. And then they telling her, chill out.
And DHS Secretary Kristi Noem must resign or face impeachment.
Okay.
I don't know.
Wow. Good night, Brew.
I need a napkin. I need a napkin to know nothing. No. You need to go get checked. No, we won't continue. These fucking assholes are not going to get away with it. You need to go get checked. No, I don't know what that's whatever it is.
Did you see the security guard? Fam sprayed her, walked this way. Dude came up with the bear hug. He came up like, boy, what you on? Come here. Man, he grabbed her like, boy, you think you in? Come here, boy. What you on? And the man just, he folded up like a lawn chair. Oh, man, this crazy. Did you see how he snatched him up, though? It was the snatch up for me, fam.
So bad, she needs to go get checked. That's what they want. Please don't let them know. It's not about him, Johan.
She like, it ain't about him, Johan.
No.
Her name Johan. You know she about something else.
Yeah, and We're gonna keep talking. Just give me 10 minutes.
So she like, we're gonna keep talking. Security like, nah. She like, please just give me 10 minutes. Hey, Dirty, you a government official. You somebody important. You can't just be outside. Yeah, because anytime you take office, yeah. Nah, Ron, I'm just looking at what it was. So why was...
strong, and we will stay resilient in the face of Everybody settle down.
Hold on, man. Hold on, man. Because why do... Hold on, man.
Strong, and we will stay resilient in the face of
So what is dude doing holding his ankles? Is the blonde-haired man holding the man's ankles? I mean, they got him down so bad that the man can't even... He got his ankles. He bent over and he down and he got his ankles. I'm trying to figure this out, man. They got that man ankles though. Like, cause where he gonna go now and he already bent over with 8 people around his shoulder. Why would this man be back there with that man by the back behind of that man behind? And he holding his ankles, man. So so he about to just fart and let release go all in his face. And he just gonna hold his ankles. So he feeling like, we got this guy. I'ma just go for the ankles. You got to. Bam said, this is the way we gonna do it. Y'all get him up top. I'ma go for the ankles. So what are we doing? Cause what are we doing? Why we going for the ankles, fam? Out of everything here to get, why we going for the ankles? In that way. Oh my God, fam. That's what I'm saying. Like, don't even know what to do. You just go for the man ankles while he bent over. Tie you in.
Everybody settle down. My remarks. It is important for me to continue to lead my Democratic colleagues in demanding
he was kicking Cal.
And like I said, if she does not resign, we are going to introduce articles of impeachment. This moment in U.S. history, and particularly in Minnesota, requires all of us to be working together to preserve our democracy. When we say what is our right, we mean that. Last week, my Republican colleagues put forth a Homeland Security funding bill that includes $28 billion for ICE and Border Patrol. I refuse to greenlit lightning
And so you gotta understand something, fam. Like, if her face start melting because she didn't take that man serious, she gonna realize her real fate. It mattered for her to go see what he sprayed on her. Because not doing it, she could just start melting right there. You hear what I'm saying? That was the point of trying to figure out the situation, because the way they playing it, they don't care.
But before I take any questions and give more details on the storm and its impact, I do want to address the tragic situation that we saw in Minneapolis today that unfolded on the streets. It occurred with DHS law enforcement as they carried out their lawful duties to keep Americans safe in the threat of criminal illegal aliens in this country. At 9:05 a.m., Central Time, the Department of Homeland Security law enforcement officials and officers were conducting targeted operations in Minneapolis against an illegal alien whose criminal history included domestic assault with intentionally inflicting bodily harm, disorderly conduct, and driving without a valid license. An individual approached U.S. Border Patrol officers with a 9mm semi-automatic handgun. The officers attempted to disarm this individual, but the armed suspect reacted violently. Fearing for his life and for the lives of his fellow officers around him, an agent fired defensive shots. Medics were on the scene immediately and attempted to deliver medical aid to the subject, but he was pronounced dead at the scene. The suspect also had 2 magazines with ammunition in them that held dozens of rounds. He also had no ID. This looks like a situation where an individual arrived at the scene to inflict maximum damage on individuals and to kill law enforcement. About hundreds of protesters then showed up at the scene. They began to obstruct and to assault law enforcement officers. We saw objects being thrown at them, including ice and other objects, and a rampant assault began, and even an HSI officer agent's finger was bitten off. Crowd control measures were deployed to bring safety to the public and to law enforcement at the scene. And once again, I want to remind everybody that this situation and this tragedy did not have to happen. Our law enforcement are doing everything that they can to protect the public. We're praying for this deceased loved one's family and friends, but we also recognize that the Minnesota governor and the Minneapolis mayor need to take a long, hard look in the mirror. They need to evaluate their rhetoric, their conversations, and their encouragement of such violence against our citizens and our law enforcement officers. I'll remind you that Governor Walz today in his press conference said that our officers were not even law enforcement, which is a lie. He's called them the Gestapo. He's encouraged residents and citizens and violent rioters to resist. He's doxed their identities, putting themselves and their families' lives in jeopardy. He's refused to turn over murders to federal law enforcement officers. He's protected illegal criminals and protected them from being brought to justice, and even overseen a historic, unprecedented theft of American taxpayer dollars. Tens of billions of dollars were stolen under his watch, and he allowed it to happen, and in some instances may have even facilitated it.
Oh yeah, that's the problem. Now that's
Everybody, welcome! Welcome to the Daily Show! Oh man, I gotta go for it.
TikTok users first began noticing problems when trying to post about ICE raids and the Minneapolis shooting. Videos failed to upload, sat in reviews for hours, or suddenly received no views at all. But soon after that, other creators reported the same thing happening, not just with the Minneapolis shooting and the ICE raids, but also with DMs that mentioned Jeffrey Epstein. Whenever you would send a message in private DMs on TikTok, the word Epstein started to become blocked. And as you can imagine, this shocked a lot of people, and frustration spread quickly across the platform, with people claiming they were being quietly censored on politically sensitive topics. What you also have to remember is that a huge majority of ByteDance has been sold to investors that back Trump. And so this has caused a lot of concern for people. People are worried that their ability to use their voice on social media has become censored. Billie Eilish even spoke up about it and posted that TikTok is silencing people, sharing her brother's video about Epstein that had barely any engagement despite his massive audience. Journalist David Levitt said his political videos were being flagged, and his post about it exploded to over 1 million views. Senator Chris Murphy responded by calling the apparent suppression one of the top threats to democracy, warning that control of major platforms could shape what Americans are allowed to see. Now, as the backlash grew, California Governor Gavin Newsom weighed in on X, saying it was time to investigate and announcing a formal review into whether TikTok was violating state law by censoring Trump-critical content. Now, Newsom shared examples from users who said they could no longer even type the word Epstein without content being blocked or flagged. TikTok then blamed the widespread issues
on a power outage at a US data center with communications head Jamie Favaza telling NBC News the disruptions were purely technical. A lot of people are saying it's interesting how a power outage would affect the words Epstein being typed in DMs or content being flagged regarding the Minneapolis shooting or ICE agents and their presence. Tech wizards in our comments, we'd love to know what your take is on this. So to understand how we got here, we have to go back several years. ByteDance merged Musical.ly into TikTok in 2017, turning it into the world's most downloaded app by 2022. But in 2020, Trump originally pushed for a TikTok ban during COVID, blaming concerns over China and national security, demanding that ByteDance sell the app within 90 days. If you remember, back in the lockdown, there was this huge scare about whether or not TikTok was going to shut down. And it was a huge trend back then. Obviously, TikTok didn't shut down, but Microsoft, Oracle, and Walmart explored a purchase, and no deal materialized, and the deadlines quietly expired. But originally, Trump was firmly in favor of banning TikTok. He had a change of heart, and he was asked why he had a change of heart. Take a look at this clip.
Make that decision. But I could see making a deal where the U.S. gets 50% of TikTok, polices it a little bit or a lot, depends on them. But remember, they make telephones in China, they make all sorts of things in China. Nobody ever complains about that. Here they're complaining about this. There's so many different products made in China and nobody ever complained about it. The only one they complain about is TikTok. And TikTok is largely young people. I guess I have a warm spot for TikTok that I didn't have originally. But you know, I went on TikTok and I won young people up by 36%, Peter. And Republicans typically don't do too well with young people, but it's a different Republican Party.
You wanted to block TikTok. Why did you change your mind?
Because I got to use it. And remember, TikTok is largely about kids, young kids. If China's going to get information about young kids, I don't know. I think, to be honest with you, I think we have bigger problems than that. But you know, when you take a look at telephones that are made in China and all the other things that are made in China, military equipment made in China. TikTok, I think TikTok is not their biggest problem. But there's big value in TikTok if it gets approved. If it doesn't get approved, there's no value. So if we create that value, why aren't we entitled to like half?
In 2024, Congress passed a divest or ban law that President Biden signed, and TikTok sued subsequently, arguing it violated free speech protections. But around that time, Trump joined TikTok during the 2024 campaign and publicly addressed the ban. So once back in office, Trump declined to enforce this ban. Take a look at this clip of Trump talking about the TikTok ban.
We'll take a look at TikTok. You know, I have a warm spot in my heart for TikTok because I won youth by 34 points. And there are those that say that TikTok had something to do with that. Now, Joe Rogan did, and some of the other people that were recommended by my son Barron, he knew names. I said, who is that? Tell me, who's that? Dad, you gotta be kidding. I can't believe you don't know. And I did those interviews, and it was actually sort of cute.
Once you appear as the enemy, you are the enemy.
But TikTok had an impact, and so we're taking a look at it. But
you only get to confess your sins if you want to become famous. Let me know, Juan. You want to confess? So you want to be fam? That's fine. But you don't come in here as a duck. And want to be fam.
You know, we won youth. Republicans are always 30 points down in youth. I don't know why, but we ended up finishing. There was one poll that showed us down about 30. We were 35 or 36 points up with young people. So I have a little bit of a warm spot in my heart, I'll be honest. Yes, please.
Now, what a lot of people haven't paid attention to, like I said, there has been a deal that officially transfers TikTok's US operations to a group of investors, including Oracle over here in the US. But that deal happened just days ago, on January 22nd. And now, oversight of the algorithm was placed under Oracle co-founder Larry Ellison, who is a longtime Trump ally. And digital rights advocates warned this was exactly what critics feared would happen, saying Trump's promise to save TikTok